a moment to invite them to join us. Whatever capacity in which they are able to do so, may they join us and may they witness this meritorious deed. May they acquire merit, and may all such beings in woeful states be able to redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane, and may all beings in the blissful state be able to listen to the teaching of the Lord Buddha, understand it, comprehend it, and be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Sadhammam Munirajansa Sunantu Sagga Mokkhadan Dhammasavana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalu Ayam Bhadanta. And also before we commence, let us all take a moment to gather up humility and humbleness within our minds. Take a moment to reflect on the kind of people we used to be before we ever got to hear the Dhamma, the teaching of the Buddha, which transformed our lives beyond our wildest imagination. Consider for a moment the kind of person you used to be, and now reflect on the person that you are today. This transformation is because of the teaching of the Buddha, and that is his Dhamma. Now consider the kind of person you might have been in this infinite long journey in samsara, having not had the association of noble ones and moral ones who are there to help you, support you, assist you, and to develop you and to guide you, your thinking in terms of being good and treating others with respect and virtuously. During this time in samsara, there we will have, on infinite occasions, on innumerable occasions, have offended the noble ones, including the Noble Triple Gem, and the Samma Sambuddhas, the Pacceka Buddhas, the Arahata Buddhas, Anagami, Sakradagami, Sotapannas, as well as the Buddha's ministry, the Sambuddha Shasana. For any thoughts, words or actions of desecration, revile, that we might have directed at them, either knowingly or unknowingly, the consequences of such actions may be that our path to deliverance is blocked and hindered. Therefore, before we commence today's session, let us all take a moment to accept that this is who we used to be, and take a moment to seek forgiveness from the noble ones for any misdeeds, thoughts, or words of revile, desecration, and slander that we might have directed towards them. May we be forgiven, and may I be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. With that firm resolve in your hearts and in your minds, I invite you all to prepare yourselves to listen to this sermon. Okay. Can you switch the light on at the back, please? Thank you. just in case someone gets the idea that it's bedtime. Okay. So last week I gave you an indication of what we are going to be doing this week, and that is the reflection of what we have been talking about over the past few weeks. I promised you last week I'm going to do little talking this time. I'm trying to keep true to my word, which I always fail to do. For once, at least, I'm going to try and keep to my word. All I'm going to be doing today is reminding you the basics of what it is we are going to be reflecting on. So today is going to be a lot of you doing the hard work, and from time to time we will take a brief moment to review how well you're doing. So I have brought along with me I asked a few of our monks to get together and help me gather up a few ideas, or rather karmasthana. But really the karmasthana is the Dhamma, but what you're going to be doing is applying it to real life practical situations. So I have come here prepared with that, and hopefully you've come prepared too. Now as we do this, I would like to remind you again, there's no requirement to close your eyes, because the Buddha's method of meditation is application. That is what meditation really is. It's the application of the mind, application of the Dhamma to cleanse the mind. Okay, that's the simplest way of putting it. Application of the Dhamma to cleanse the mind. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I will give you some practical situations which some of you may be able to relate to quite easily. For others it may be perhaps sometimes situations that you're not altogether familiar with, but that's okay as well. Because in which case, consider someone coming up to you asking for some advice. I've got this problem, please help me. Because one who has really understood something is able to explain it to somebody else in simple terms so that another person can understand it. So when asked a question, if you're able to clearly explain yourself, chances are you have properly understood. But if you're struggling to explain what you believe you have understood to somebody else, then chances are you haven't understood it all that well either. Okay, so I'll also give you some time to come up with your own situations, because as much as I try, some of the situations that I'll be offering you will be quite general. But in your own lives you'll have very specific circumstances and situations into which you'd like to be able to apply the Dhamma. So you will be given time for that also. In one of the meditation sessions, if you remember, we tried out what we call the Chaturarakka. So this was a 4-stepped approach or method to practice the application of the Dhamma. So whenever I say meditation, what needs to come into your mind is application of the Dhamma. Okay, so we're going to be using those two words interchangeably. Meditation does not imply anything else, certainly not within these 4 walls. This is why I say it does not require you closing your eyes. You can be wide awake and have your eyes open. You can be walking up and down. You can be stood up. You don't have to be sat down. You can also have your books with you and write your thinking down, put it in words if that's easier. So there are no strict and hard and fast rules about the application of the Dhamma, but the only thing I want you to do is to actually apply it. So I wouldn't want you to be sat here thinking about something else. The problem with that is, of course, I don't know what you're thinking about. So you're going to have to help yourself to a great degree today. Because when I'm preaching to you, I can get you to focus your attention on what it is I'm saying. So if I see that you're in cuckoo land, I can wake you up and bring you back. But when we are all quiet, I can't police what it is you're thinking of. So you're going to have some discipline there. Always keep bringing yourself back to this room, right, and back to what we're about to do today. And it helps if you can keep your eyes open and just be aware of what's going on here. So that'll be helpful. So we'll use the method of the Chaturarakkhava today. So that goes off and starts off with Buddhanusatiya, moving on to Marananusatiya, Asubhanusatiya is where we'll be spending the most of our time, and then we will conclude with Mettanusatiya. I asked you all to bring something along with you this week. Hopefully you have remembered to do that. Do you remember what that was? Good. It was a list of what? All the things you like to eat? List of what? All the list of people who have helped you. Right from your early ages, your early years, all the way up until today. A list of all the people who have helped you in whatever way, whether it was small or large, however they have managed to help you. A list of people who have helped you, because when we move on to the Mettanusatiya, we will be spreading loving kindness and compassion towards all of them, particularly given the time of year, as we turn over a new leaf in our lives at the turn of a new year. So that's the plan for today. Okay? So we're going to start off then with Buddhanusatiya. And Buddhanusatiya is the reflection of the greatness of the Buddha. The Buddha is, in this context, is not necessarily a person. That's the first thing that we need to get into our heads. It's not necessarily a person. Of course, the Buddha was a person, but actually, it was Gautama who was the person. This individual called Gautama is who attained Buddhahood. And this is why we call him the Buddha. Like for instance, if you see the chairman of the company, if you're where you work, you say, that's the chairman. So you actually point your finger at someone, right? You're pointing your finger at a person, at a physical being, but when you say that is the chairman, what you really mean is he's the person who has taken on the role of the chairman. But that's a lot of words. So instead of saying that, you just say, there's the chairman, or there's the manager, here's the boss, here's my boss, right? And so on and so forth. So the Buddha is similar. What Prince Siddhartha did was, when he went through a course of transformation, he went through a process of becoming and ended up becoming the Buddha. To become the Buddha, he followed a certain procedure, a method, and that was the paramitas. And if you all are engaged in the same process, well, guess what? You can all become a Buddha. So becoming a Buddha is all about identifying what those qualities are and then instilling those qualities within oneself. So anyone can become a Buddha. Anyone can become a Pacceka Buddha, and anyone can become an Arahatta Buddha. My resolve is to become an Arahatta Buddha, and hopefully yours is the same, but there may be those among you who aim for much greater things like a Supreme Buddha, and that's perfectly fine. The only challenge is it's going to take a long time. And I can guarantee you will not become a Supreme Buddha in this birth. That much I can guarantee. I can guarantee this because another Buddha is not going to come at least for the next 2,500 years. At least. But certainly a much longer time will have to be waited before another Supreme Buddha comes along. But plenty of Arahatta Buddhas will be seen in the next 2,500 years. So we welcome you all to be part of that. So when we do Buddhanusatiya, it is about the reflection of the qualities that make up a Buddha. In other words, what is it that Siddhartha did to become a Buddha? What are the qualities that he instilled within himself to become a Buddha? That is what Buddhanusatiya is. Now, when I practice Buddhanusatiya, as I have shared with you in the past, I contemplate on it in this way. I ask myself the kind of person I used to be. Like when we do the seeking forgiveness for our Aripuada, right? Consider the kind of person we used to be. Now think about the person you are today. That transformation must have happened due to some reason. There must have been someone or something that played a part in your life that made that transformation. So this requires you to go back and ask yourself, who was I 6 months ago? What kind of person was I a year ago? So this requires you to go back into your own lives, go back into your past. Right? Time travel. Travel back in time and see the kind of person you used to be. Just observe. So this is what you need to be doing when you do the Buddhanusati Bhavana. Okay, so this is a practical approach. Travel back in time, in your mind, and see the kind of person you used to be. Perhaps you used to get very angry. Right? Perhaps you used to fire up quite easily. Perhaps you used to say things out to people and not care too much about how it might make them feel. But today you are a very different person. Perhaps you had a lot of attachments towards things, maybe a lot of desires. And those desires perhaps burnt you from the inside out. Perhaps, stealing was a habit that you just couldn't give up. Perhaps you were engaged in sensual desires which you are not all too proud about. Things that you wouldn't normally share with even the closest friend. Things that today you think back and ask yourself, why was I like that? I can't even believe that that's the kind of person I used to be. It's as if I was possessed. Like an evil spirit had possessed me. So you know better than I do the kind of person you used to be. And I certainly know the kind of person I used to be. Something changed within me. And I'd expect that something changed within all of you. You're here today because something changed you. The question is, what is that something? What is that something? And that something has to be the Dhamma. Because remove Dhamma from your life, you are back to who you used to be. So it's the Dhamma that transformed you. Perhaps you are more generous than you used to be. You are more virtuous than you used to be. You're very careful about the precepts that you observe, and you strive to abide by them. You have vowed to not lie. You have vowed to not use false speech. Today, when you sense pleasure, you see the danger with it. But it used to be that when you sense pleasure, you went after it. Back then. But today, you are beginning to sense the danger within it. Today, when someone says something, when someone badmouths you, it doesn't hurt you too much. But back then, if someone badmouthed you, then you would give them tit for tat. But things have changed now. You are a much more calm, collected, and cool person than you used to be. This transformation happened because of something. And that something is the Dhamma. So now you know then that the Dhamma has the power to transform you. Oftentimes we talk about characters and personalities like Angulimala. When we talk about the greatness of the Buddha, stories which come to the tip of our tongue quite easily are characters like Angulimala, Ambapali, who used to be a courtesan, but then went on to become an Arahatun Mahanse, Arahat Mehenin Mahanse. Angulimala, who used to be a mass murderer, but he went on to become an Arahatun Mahanse. So we quite easily come up with these stories and we say these are legacies of the Buddha. This is what the kind of people he used to domesticate. But for me, bringing me down on my knees was, for me, the greatness of the Buddha. Because I know personally the kind of person I used to be. And in much the same way, I expect you will all know the kind of person you used to be. Perhaps some of you have been living a married life for some time now. And in that marriage life that you've had at home, husbands and wives, maybe used to be that you used to have arguments all the time. Get into fights, blame each other for things, but now things have changed a lot. Now, if it's the wife that has been coming along and listening to the sermons, when the husband says something, it doesn't bother her too much. If it's the other way around, when the wife says something, you don't go haggling along, retaliating for whatever is being said to you. You are able to be more compassionate. You are able to bear things a lot better than you used to. And that shows greatness in you. So then you've got to ask yourself the question, what is it that made me great? What is it that transformed me? In the workplace, perhaps things used to annoy you. When you got given a lot of work and you found stressful situations at work, but stress is not something that you're all too familiar with now, but perhaps it used to be. I remember there were times when I used to get stressed at work. When you see a busy inbox coming into the office, when your boss is asking you, what about this, what about that, what about everything else, And when you're expecting a call back from your customers to say, yes, I'm going to sign the deal, but you have to keep chasing them, and then they keep avoiding you, right? That feeling is quite annoying. You can almost pull your hair out, particularly if it's close of financial year in 2 days' time, and you've got to close the deal before the accounts go into finance. So, I remember such times. And those times were quite stressful. But today, those times don't stress you all that much. So this is the bliss that you have come to experience. This is not my tale I'm talking about. This is your tale. You have a story to tell today, folks. You have a story to tell. A personal story that you can relate. Could you not write a book about yourself today? An autobiography? Would you not be proud of that? But think about before you got the Dhamma, if you were asked to write your autobiography, do you think anyone would want to read it? Chances are even you wouldn't want to read it. But today, just think about the person you are, how much you have changed. Honestly, do you not think today that it would be a good thing for others to associate you? For your friends to associate you more closely than they might have done? Do you not think it's a good thing? Because today you have a very positive influence on other people's lives. There may be those here who you have brought along with you. There may be those here who you introduced. Come along, there are these sermons, you should come and listen to them from time. These sermons, they have changed my life. The Dhamma has changed my life, and I want you to have a piece of that. But maybe a few years ago, you used to say the same thing, but about a different matter. There's a new play in town. Let's go see that. There's a new play in the theatre. Let's go see that. Oh, you watched that new film? Let's go see that. There's a new restaurant in town. Why don't we all book a table and go and have something? The conversations you have with the people that you associate are very different now than they used to, aren't they? You know. And so clearly you have changed. Clearly you have changed. And that change, that transformation is because of the Dhamma. So, are you not the best evidence there is then of the potency of this Dhamma? How much the Dhamma is capable of changing a person? There's an old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Right? We've all heard that. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I beg to differ. I was an old dog. And the Dhamma taught me new tricks. My dad was an old dog. Of course, not literally I don't mean, but metaphorically. And I was able to share with him things. Through the Dhamma, we have been able to transform him. As I said last week, at his mother's funeral, he was able to stand there and talk about his mother without shedding a tear. Now that says a lot. He was a very sensitive man. More sensitive than my mother. But he's quite sensitive. So, to have transformed him really shows something. It really speaks volumes about the Dhamma. But likewise, I want you all to think about yourselves, folks. Each and every one of you. Think about, what has the Dhamma done for me? Contemplating on that, reflect on the fact that this Dhamma, the virtues of the Dhamma, the greatness of the Dhamma is beyond comparison. Now the Dhamma was given to you by the Buddha, not me. The Buddha is the master. So for someone to have shared with this teaching with us, he without having any teacher. We know how much our lives have changed thanks to our teachers. But remember, the Buddha had no teacher. So to have uncovered, to have discovered a path to liberation, the path to salvation without a teacher, now that is something truly remarkable. So it's through the transformation that has happened in your lives, I want you to see the Buddha. Not standing up here looking at the statue. This is not the Buddha. I dare to say, this is not the Buddha. This is just a statue. This is not the Buddha. If you tell me this is the Buddha and worship this, I'm more than prepared to. Because this is not the Buddha. That's not the Buddha. Even if you were to bring the Buddha in person in front of me, that's not the Buddha. That's just his body. That's just the physical being. But the Buddha is the great qualities that changed my life. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Buddha is a collection of the great qualities that changed my life. I think I shared this story with you a couple of weeks ago. A gentleman came and said to me that one of his smart goals for the new year is to be able to respect all monks the same. To be respectful towards all monks. I think I shared this story with you last week if I remember. And for him the challenge is that he knows of the monks who live close by to where his home is, or the temple that is local to him. Apparently they are not all that virtuous. So that is his... that's what he makes of them. They're not all that virtuous, but he wants to give an alms. He wants to give an alms given to the monks, and he's asking me, Swaminatha, how can I make my mind up to invite them? At which point I explained to him, Sir, the monk is not the Mahasangha. And if I remember, this is when I asked him, I pointed at some monks who were in the Dhamma hall at the time and said, can you show me the Mahasangha? Which one of them is the Mahasangha? Because you can't point your finger at the Mahasangha. Can you show me generosity? Where is it in this room? Can you show me kindness? Because these are qualities. You can't point your finger at that. You can only point your finger at a person. The Mahasangha is, or the Sangha Ratna, which is one of the Noble Triple Gems, is a collection of virtues. It's a collection of great qualities. We must all strive to instill those qualities within ourselves. The qualities of the Buddha, the qualities of the Dhamma, and the qualities of the Sangha. We must all strive to instill them within us. So what about then those men and women who wear robes? What you see is people who have dedicated their lives to instilling those values within themselves. Others who are in white, or people who live a lay life, they strive to do it the best they can while living a lay life. Whereas those who come forth, or go forth and become monks or nuns, they have dedicated their entire lives, their livelihood entirely to instilling those values within themselves. So that is the difference. But the Mahasangha is not in the robe. That you must understand. So similarly, the Buddha is not in the statue. The Buddha is not in the body of the Gautama. The Buddha is a set of virtues, an infinite set of virtues, and that is what we pay our reverence to. Okay? So Buddha Anusati is that. So here's what you need to do, practically. When we start the session, which is what we'll be doing in a couple of minutes' time, I'm going to keep to my word of keeping the talking down and letting you actually focus on your meditation today. So we're going to start it off in about a couple of minutes' time. What you'll be doing practically is first, take a bird's eye view of yourself and travel back in time. What's it called, a kaleidoscope? Yeah, so you travel back in time. You travel back in time and look at yourself, the kind of person you used to be. Go back as far as you can remember. You don't have to go back to your childhood. If it's 5 years you can remember, then go back 5 years. If it's 10, 15, 20 years, then go back that time. Think about the things that you used to do. Perhaps things that you're not proud about. Things that you would never even share with your closest friend. Things that you wouldn't want your spouse to find out about. Things that you would never share with your parents. Your closely guarded secrets. Ask yourself, why is it that you have secrets? Do you think the Buddha had secrets? No, the Buddha does not have secrets. There are certain things he didn't share with others, and that's only because it was of no use to them. The great elders Sariputta, Kashyapa, Mahamoggallana, they had no secrets because their lives were open for examination. You could come and inspect them and you wouldn't find any dirt within them. You wouldn't find any flaws within them. Lives were open, bare, open for inspection to anybody. You may be becoming such kind of person, but you do know for a fact that that's not the kind of person you used to be. Would you be willing to share your deepest secrets the kind of person you used to be 10 years ago with your closest friend, there'll still be secrets, things that you wouldn't want to share. And that's because there are things you're not proud about. But now, thanks to the Dhamma, your lives have changed so much that there are very few secrets, if any. One of the things that our teachers teach us is conduct your day-to-day lives such that at the end of the day, if someone comes and asks you, monk, how have you lived your life, your day-to-day? Khatam bhutasame rattin diva viti patantiti pabbajitena abhinham pacchavekkitabbam. One of the commandments of the Buddha. He says, you've got to live your day such that when a teacher comes and asks you, tell me, monk, how you have lived your day today. How have you lived your day today? How have you spent your days and how have you spent your night? You should be able to spell it out to them minute by minute, second by second, and you should never feel that, oh, I've just done something I can't share with you. That's how clean your life has to be. The days that you spend has to be. And that will happen when the Dhamma touches your lives and transforms you. I believe that that is happening for all of you. But only you know it for sure. So, what I want you to do now then is go back into your past. Retrospect. Go back into your past. Look at those moments in your life where things you've done. I'm not proud of that. These are not things I'd want anybody to do. These are not things I'm proud of. But those kind of things I don't do anymore today. Today I'm more virtuous. The things I used to think about, I don't think about today. The things I used to say, I don't say today. The things I used to do, I don't do today. Particularly the 10 unmeritorious deeds. When was the last time you killed even a tiny insect? Chances are it'll be a long time ago. That's great. See how much you have changed? I know when I was, 10 years ago, killing an ant, killing a mosquito, killing a fly, I wouldn't think twice about it. We had a fly swatter at home. And it was fun for me to kill flies. Killing flies was a game to me. Killing ants was entertainment. Killing a mosquito, you wouldn't think twice. That's the kind of person I used to be. But I'm not that kind of person today. Today I would rather give my life than take the life of somebody else or something else. And I think you will all feel that way about yourselves. Taking the life of another person, another being, is not something you would consider even in a nightmare. Not in your wildest imagination would you consider taking somebody else's life or something else's life, another animal's life, another being's life. What changed you? You got to ask the question, right? What changed you? How come? Well, if you ask me that question, the answer is the Dhamma changed me. The Dhamma that was given to me by the Supreme Buddha. That is what changed me. I don't do such things today through fear of the apayas. I don't care much for that. I don't not do them because of the fear of falling into the hells. I don't do them today because I don't see the value in taking somebody else's life. There's no point in doing it. And of course, through benevolence to others. If I feel the pain of death, then others must feel the pain of death equally. So today you are able to look at it that way. Under what circumstances might you consider killing someone? Under what circumstances? See, you've changed. And there may be some among you, perhaps parents who still have young children. Even if someone might come and threaten the life of your child, you might be in a state today where even under such circumstances would you not be willing to lay a hand on another person. There might be parents like that among you. And if you have come that far, wow, that's incredible. That's genius, that's amazing. If you have managed to come that far. I'm talking about the kind of, this is the kind of person who's close to becoming an arahant. Because to parents, their children are the most doted, most precious things. So for a parent to be able to say, Swaminatha, even if someone would come and threaten the life of my child, I would never harm that person. I would never hurt them. I would try and save my child, but I would not fight back. I would not hurt them or take their life in revenge. Ask yourself if you are that kind of person, if you have been able to get there. If not, well, don't you worry. If you follow the path that you have been following up until now, you will get there. And I'm certain of that. So this transformation has happened within you. In your workplace or at home, right? Perhaps in those times you didn't think twice about taking something that didn't belong to you. You were quite easily offering excuses. It's okay to take from them because they have plenty. It's alright, they won't even know that we've taken something. Perhaps that's the kind of person you used to be, but today you don't do that anymore. You don't do that. Stealing. What's stealing is what you ask. Stealing? What's that? It's not even in your vocabulary today. When was the last time you stole something? When was the last time you took something that didn't belong to you? When I was a child, I used to go and steal milk powder from the kitchen. And my mother wasn't at home, go to the kitchen, get some milk powder. I used to, not that she would ever stop me if I wanted it, but I enjoyed stealing. It was fun. It was quite entertaining. Walking in, checking if anyone's watching, right? Getting some milk powder onto a saucer, and going hiding myself somewhere, and I would lap it up. That's the kind of person I used to be. Not anymore. Not anymore. I remember when I was much younger, walking into a shop, and if I was ever given extra change that I don't deserve, I would quietly pocket it and walk back home. Quite happy about the fact that I've managed to walk away with a few extra rupees in my hand. How disgusting. How sad. Perhaps you were the same. When the clerk totals up your bill and they bag it all up for you, and you take the bill home, and as you walk out into the car park to get into your car, you scan your receipt and you find out, hey, I've got this item in my bag, but it's not on the receipt. So you know that you've managed to walk out with something that you haven't paid for. Previously, before the Dhamma came into your lives, you were like, yay, bargain. But now, you're not like that. Now, you'd walk back. You'd walk back into the store, say, excuse me, you haven't charged me for this. Either take it back or charge me the money. Isn't that who you are now? See, something like that, you would not say that. You would not be proud of something like that. The kind of person you used to be. But today you are able to walk back into the store and actually tell the person, this item I didn't pay for. Please take it back. Or charge me what it is that I ought to pay for this. See how you have changed? So what's changed you? The Dhamma's changed you. Sensual or sexual misconduct, didn't think twice about it. But now, it's not like that. Now if you feel sensuality, when you're looking at something or someone, you feel a sense of fright and fear. But back then, you saw an opportunity. Engaging in sensual misconduct was a pastime for you back then, but now, not so. You wouldn't think in your wildest imaginations about doing something like that. So you stepped away from unmeritorious deeds. You wouldn't even consider doing them. Lying just came automatically to you. You wouldn't think twice about lying. But not anymore. You daren't lie at all. Lying is the last thing you want to do. And even if it's a white lie, you ask yourself 100 times, should I say this, should I not say this, should I be saying this? Surely this is bad to say, I shouldn't be saying this. But back then, didn't think twice about it. You didn't think about how it might make the other person feel. Backstabbing, backbiting, things that you used to do, but not anymore. Harsh speech, hurting other people with words, shouting at them, making them feel so small, ridiculing people, using sarcasm to hurt them, things that you used to do, but not anymore. Why? The Dhamma has transformed you. You used to see other people delighting in the things that they used to have, and you used to think to yourself, Why them? Ought to be me instead. How come they always get the good stuff? Why don't I get it? I deserve it more than them, were things that you used to feel, but not anymore. Because today you realize that there is nothing in this world that is worthy of becoming. There is nothing in this world that is worthy of having, because there is nothing in this world that can ultimately bring any pleasure. So, you have transformed, and that is because of the Dhamma. And that Dhamma was given to you by the Supreme Buddha. This is the Buddhanusati. So when you reflect on this, folks, you will be able to experience an immense amount of joy, reflecting on what a great person you have become today. So this is patting yourself on the back. You don't need somebody else to do that. Pat yourself on the back. Congratulate yourself. Congratulations and celebrations, remember? You don't need somebody else to do that. Do it yourself. This is how you ought to do it. Okay? So we're going to be doing Buddhanusati now for a few moments. Go back in time, see the kind of person you used to be, and then come back to the present. Now check the difference. This difference is because of the Buddha, because of his teaching, and because of the Mahasangha who has helped make this transformation within me. And as you reflect on those qualities, you ask yourself, wow, these great qualities, how do I instill them within myself? If I could become more of who I am today, I want to become more of what? Who I am today. I want to become more of that. I want to become more of who I am becoming today. This transformation has happened because of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, and I want to become more of that. Okay? So this is what we are going to be contemplating on before we move on to the next session. Because before we do anything, I want you all to feel that you have actually accomplished something. On that platform only can we take the next step. I want you all to realize how much you have actually been able to achieve. What you have managed to do today is not simple things, folks. Remember that. You might... Here's the thing, right? When you come to the monastery, it may be that who you're comparing yourself with is the Swaminwahanses. You look at the Swaminwahanses and think, oh God, when will we ever be able to do what they're doing? It's okay to do that, but then oftentimes you forget that the real person you need to compare yourself to is who? The person you used to be. The person you used to be. That's who you ought to be comparing yourself to, not the Swaminwahanse. The Swaminwahanse should be comparing himself to who he or she used to be. So we don't need to compare ourselves against somebody else. Just look at yourself and compare yourself to who you used to be. Because otherwise, you don't feel that you have accomplished anything. Whereas I am sat here and I know the stories you come and share with me. And oftentimes I think to myself, wow, I hope this gentleman realizes how much he has changed, because what he's telling me now is not what he told me 6 months ago. What this lady is coming and telling me now is not what she told me a year ago. Seriously, the stories you come and tell me, they have changed. They have changed. You're not telling me the same stories you used to tell me. The victories that you're coming and sharing with me, they have changed. You're coming now and talking about great victories. See, I'm able to observe, I'm able to see that change, but you don't see that change because you're seeing it every day. So you don't see a big delta. I see that. I want you now to go back in time, look at who you used to be, now consider who you are now, and consider this difference, and that you need to attribute to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. Okay, so let's do that for a few moments. And fear not, you deserve that joy. Unreservedly experience that joy and enjoy it. Unreservedly, unashamedly. That's yours to keep. You deserve it. You bought it. You got it. You deserve it. Experience it. Enjoy it. This is Priti. Priti Sambojjhanga. One of the factors of enlightenment. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you all to reflect on what I am about to say. This is about you. This is about your journey. This is about where you are today. This is about how you have changed. This is your transformation on your journey to becoming a child, a son or a daughter of the Supreme Buddha. Taking the life of another, hurting others, harming others, inflicting pain and injury onto others was something that only came naturally to me. I wouldn't think twice. For my comfort, for my ease, hurting another creature, harming another person, inflicting pain on another being was so easy to do. I wouldn't think twice about it. Others would fear my presence. To have it my way, I would do whatever it took. To have things the way I want, it wouldn't matter what the cost of it was to others, how much other people would be hurt, how much other beings would be hurt, the members of my family, those around me, my co-workers. It would not matter to me how much pain they had to suffer and endure for my gain and my well-being. But that is now a thing of the past. That is who I used to be. I am that person no more. The very thought of who I used to be sounds so foreign to me now. There's not the simplest resemblance. I have changed. I am now different. as if I have come anew into this world. I have received a new birth. I struggle to relate to the person I used to be. That is not me anymore. Today, others look forward to my presence. Today, others look to being with me. They enjoy my presence because they know that no harm can come to them when I am around. In that transformation, I have been able to become a fountain of joy to all those around me. Others don't see me as a source of pain and agony anymore. Today I am able to share joy in abundance with everybody around me. This is because I have changed. I am no longer who I used to be. I have transformed. A new person, a new being. Today I am a child of the Perfect One. Today I am a child of the Omniscient One. Today I am a child of the infinitely virtuous One. He whose compassion knows no bounds. He who is the fountain of compassion. He is my Father, and I am His child. He has changed my life forever. He has shown me compassion. He has shown me how to be compassionate towards all beings, to empathize with the suffering of all others, and only to be of help to others, and never to be a source of pain and agony to others. I refrain today from taking the life of another being, never to engage in that ever again. This is my solemn vow to the Supreme Buddha, who is my Father. Taking that which didn't belong to me was something that would come naturally to me. It did not matter the cost of that to others. It did not matter that when someone else whose belonging I would take without their knowledge would find out that what they so loved and adored had gone missing, would fall into despair. None of that mattered to me. Their pain did not matter to me. All I cared about was my happiness. At the expense of others would not matter to me. Taking material possessions of others without their knowledge was perfectly fine by me. Taking positions of authority that only really belonged and was deserved by others didn't really matter to me. If that was what made me happy, I would have it. People feared my presence. So much so that when I was around, others would leave. my presence disgusted others. When I would look at them, they would look away. Cheating used to come naturally to me. Cheating others of what they rightfully deserved. Cheating others of the rank that they deserved. Cheating others of the position that they deserved. Cheating others of their material possessions. Cheating my friends, which ended up them being my enemies, my foes. Cheating my husband, cheating my wife. Destroying all trust that they had put in me. It didn't matter to me. All I wanted was what I wanted. At what cost? None of that mattered to me. But all of that is a thing of the past. I can hardly relate to any of that now. None of that resembles who I am today. As if I have been reborn. All of that is as if it was from a previous life. That is me no longer. Today I am very different. I have changed. Changed beyond imagination and changed beyond compare. I have transformed into an Arya, one whose presence is only a delight to others, one who only gives and never asks in return, one who is a source of joy and happiness to others, never a source of pain, agony, and distrust to others. I have changed, never to go back to my old ways. And that is because today I am a child of the infinitely virtuous one. I am a son of the great Master. I am a daughter of the infinitely compassionate one. He who is the teacher of kindness, he who is the master of generosity, he whose way is only to give and never to ask in return. Today I am a child of the Supreme Buddha. I refrain from taking what it is that is not given to me and what does not belong to me. That is a vow that I have taken, and a vow that I will solemnly abide by till the very end. Indulgence in sensual delights was synonymous with me. It was all I ever wanted in life, to keep enjoying, going after and pursuing sensual pleasures and sensual delights. seeking every opportunity to please my eyes, please my ears, my nose and my tongue, and my body. It did not matter at what cost and at whose expense. It did not matter how many people I had to hurt. It did not matter that the person I was seeking such delights from already belonged to somebody else. It did not matter how many hearts had to be broken, how many families had to be broken. All I wanted was what I wanted. If I got it my way, it did not matter, even if half of the world had to be heartbroken, had to be put into despair. All I cared was my sensual pleasures and my sensual delights. In seeking sensual pleasures, I used to indulge in activities that only one could do in secrecy. Things that I could never imagine about sharing with somebody else. Things that I would only do behind closed doors. Things that had someone found out and would ask me, I would have no response but to look down in shame and in disgust. That life of old I have shed away. Like removing old clothes and throwing it away in the fire to be burned and never to be taken back. I have thrown away that life. That indulgence in sensual pleasure. Today I see the meaningless nature of it. Today I realize that seeking such pleasures at others' expense is all but meaningless. And that is because today I have changed. I am different. I am very different. Today I am a son of the infinitely virtuous one. I am a daughter of the infinitely compassionate one. He who shun away sensual delights, sensual pleasures, as meaningless, useless, essenceless, and with disgust. Today I am his child. He is my master, and he is my father. Having left behind a meaningless life of sensual pleasures and sensual pursuits, today I live in a beautiful bliss. I enjoy the ultimate bliss of letting go and the peace and calm that comes with that. Things that I used to do behind closed doors, with fear and fright, lest I be found out, I do no more, and therefore along with that have gone fear and fright once and for all. Today I am open and honest, and can be read like an open book. I have nothing to hide. No secrets. I'm open like the clear blue sky. Anyone can come and inspect me, and I have nothing to hide, nothing to fear, and nothing to worry. This is because I have taken refuge of my Father, the Supremely Enlightened One, the Perfect One, the Magnificent One, the Omnipotent One, the Omniscient One. I refrain from indulgence in sensual delights, sensual pleasures, once and for all, as I see their meaninglessness, as I have seen their essencelessness, as I have seen their emptiness. People don't fear my presence anymore. Husbands don't fear my presence. Wives don't fear my presence. Mothers don't fear my presence. Fathers don't fear my presence. Because they know that I bring no harm, no threat to their family. Today they know that nothing but good can happen to their family and to them through my association. This is because I have taken refuge of the Perfect One. He whose virtue knows no bounds. He whose virtue is infinite like the infinite universe. Lying, backbiting, slanderous speech, and harsh speech were things that were quite normal to me. People used to know me for my bad mouth. So much so, when I opened my mouth to speak, others would turn away. Others would close their ears, and others would even walk away. So much so that if people knew that I was there, they wouldn't even come. That used to be my reputation. A bad mouth. Through the power of speech, I broke families. I tore up loving couples. I destroyed good relationships, made friends enemies. I could destroy people's lives with nothing but the words that used to come flowing freely out of my mouth. The words that used to come out of my mouth were a curse to the people whose ears it would touch. I used to lie about everything. I used to use harsh words to tear people down, to send their lives into hell, to burn them up, to destroy them. How many lives might I have destroyed? How many people's hearts might I have broken? How many people might I have shattered just by using the words that came out of my mouth? But thankfully, that is all but a thing of the past. That is only who I used to be, not who I am today. I can't even relate to that person. It seems that person was imaginary. I can't believe that that person even used to exist. I have changed so much. I have changed beyond imagination. Today people come to me knowing that if they come to me as enemies, they will walk away as friends. A stark difference to how things used to happen. They used to come to me as friends and walk away as enemies. Today, they come to me as enemies and walk away as friends. I am able to heal people today with the power of my speech. I am able to mend broken hearts. I am able to do good things and great things to help people heal themselves. To help a fallen man stand back up on his 2 feet, to give him strength and courage and determination, and send him on the right path, guide him to his own deliverance. All that I am able to do today, thanks to my great Master. None other than the Supreme Buddha. He has changed me. I cannot imagine what I might have become had it not been for the mercy of the infinitely merciful one. The kindness, the generosity that he expounded towards me and all other beings. The infinitely compassionate one, the infinitely virtuous one. Today I am his son and I am his daughter. He is my father. And I know that today he will be proud to call me his child. Because through my speech, I only do good to all of humanity. I can't recall the last time I shouted at someone. I can't recall the last time I used harsh speech to tear someone up, to destroy his confidence, to hurt their feelings. That is not me anymore. Today I am a healer. I am a healer of broken hearts. I bring peace into people's lives. This is all thanks to the Great Master, to the Supreme Buddha, who has changed me, who has transformed me. He whose greatness knows no bounds, he whose compassion knows no bounds, he whose kindness is infinite. Not a million mothers, not a million fathers put together can amount to the infinite virtue of the Supreme Buddha. And today I am his daughter, I am his son. Therefore, in his presence, I vow solemnly to refrain from false speech, to refrain from slanderous speech, to refrain from frivolous speech, to refrain from harsh speech till the very end. I shed this away, never to pick them back up again. Never will I lie again. Never will I hurt anyone's feelings through my words. Never will I break people up. Never will I cause stress and strain to other people's relationships. Never. The joy that I share with others, I am able to experience. The joy that I give to others come back to me. The happiness that I bring into other people's lives keep coming back to me. In healing others' wounds, today I am healed. In bringing happiness to others' lives, today I am happy. In mending broken hearts, today I am mended. In showing others the path to ultimate bliss, today I am in ultimate bliss. And this is all because of the Supreme Buddha. Every bit of it. He is my master. He is my teacher. He is the light that I shall follow to the very end. His greatness knows no bounds. His infinite virtue knows no bounds. His infinite compassion knows no bounds. I am but a child in his arms. Anger, hatred, malice, and I used to be best friends. I recall the days when every day was like a living hell. Everything would stir up anger within me, every little thing. A leaf falling from a tree could simply boil me. One wrong word that slips out of the tongue of someone else could send me into a frenzy. I was so restless. I was so angry, full of hatred. People would fear me like they would fear a beast, a wild beast. Was I even human? I had very few friends. People didn't like me. People didn't want to talk to me. People feared me. I used to be known as he or she who could wound people simply by word. That's how much anger I had in my mind and deep down in my heart. This anger used to burn me inside out. Sleepless nights I used to have through hate boiling inside of me. Cursing someone was nothing new to me. Swearing at somebody in my mind was something I could do quite easily. I would never wish well upon others. I would only wish pain and suffering on others. But that is not me anymore. I could never be happy seeing others enjoying what they had rightfully deserved. I always wanted what they had. I wished that their sources of joy would be mine and not theirs. I always wanted what they had. I always wanted more. I always felt that it is I who always deserved everything and not anybody else. It would unsettle me to see how others would get things better than I would. How others would become successful. How others would go places but I couldn't. How others would achieve things but I couldn't. That would always unsettle me and make me mad, make me angry. Sentiments of jealousy and malice were all but too familiar. My mind used to be a cesspit. The feelings of anger and envy and jealousy, all of that inside. A cesspit. A rotting cesspit. No wonder people didn't like me. People used to walk away. But all of that is a thing of the past. Today I am very different. Today I have changed. I have changed so much. The Buddha has touched my life. He has blessed me with his teaching. He has transformed me. He has given me the gift of Dhamma. All the false views, the wrong views that I used to have, so adamant about them, unwilling to change the ways I used to think, all of that is a thing of the past. Today I realize how wrong I was. I used to think that I knew it all and everybody else had to learn from me. Today I realize that I know nothing. I know nothing. I am today and forever will be a student. I'm an open book, always willing to learn from others, always willing to hear what others have to say, embracing the weaknesses that others show me, always willing to hear my weaknesses and my faults from others, welcoming them and grateful for their kindness. Wow, what a change. All this because of him. All this because of the Perfect One. All this because of the infinitely virtuous One. He has changed me beyond my wildest imagination. He has changed me beyond any recognition, as if I have been reborn as an Arya. I have shunned away the ways of Pruthajjana, and I have entered the realms of an Arya. The Buddha is today my master. His teaching is the light that I follow. His Mahasangha is my constant guidance, always keeping me right on track, showing me the path to my deliverance. My presence is today a blessing to everyone that comes to me. I only bring joy and happiness to every soul that I touch. Friends come to me and walk away best of friends. Enemies come to me and walk away friends. My presence on this world is only a blessing. This is all because I am a daughter, I am a son of the Great Master. I am so grateful that he has adopted me. He has taken me on as his child, to look after me, to care for me, and to show me the path. Henceforth, I seek no refuge from anybody else or anyone else. My refuge is entirely with the Supreme Buddha. My refuge is entirely with his teaching, that is the Dhamma. My refuge is entirely with his disciples, and that is the Mahasangha. From this day forward, up until the day I fulfill my ambition of becoming an Arahat, shedding away all defilements, cleansing my mind of all defilements, and being a blessing on all human beings, all divine beings, and every sentient being in this entire universe. Till that day, Natti me saranang anyam, Buddho me saranang varam. Natti me saranang anyam, Dhammo me saranang varam. Natti me saranang anyam, Sangho me saranang varam. Natti me saranang anyam, Nibbanam paramang sukham. Etam santam, etam panitam, yadidam sabba sankhara samato, sabbupati pati nisago, tanhakayo virago, nirodho nibbananti, kinam puranam navannati sambhavam, viratta citta ayatike bhavasmin, te kina bija avirulhichanda, nibbanti dhira yathayam padipo, nibbanti dhira yathayam padipo, nibbanti dhira yathayam padipo. Okay. Ready? So that is Buddhanusati. Hopefully you are able to do what I asked you to do, which is to go back and come to the present. Because when you do that, you begin to realize how much the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha have been of help to you. And you realize that there is no one and nothing else whose refuge that I seek today, whose association I seek today. And then you begin to realize how blessed you are. Something I always try to remind you, how blessed you are, how fortunate you are, how incredibly fortunate you are to be where you are today, to have received the Buddha into your lives, to have received the Dhamma and to have received the Sangha. I know how much I am blessed. So now that we have this blessing, we need to be heedful, because time is ticking by. Time doesn't stop for anybody. In fact, as you know, time is an acronym. Total incapacitation and mental exasperation. This is where time takes us all. This is the inevitable. Total incapacitation. You're going to be left totally incapacitated, unable to fend for yourself. Like the day when you were just a toddler. You couldn't do anything for yourself. You relied entirely on others to come and look after you and help you and do all the things that you needed to do. You couldn't even scratch your back. Well, guess what? If you thought that that was the last time you had to experience that, surprise, it's coming again. If you thought wetting your nappy you only did for the last time when you were 2 months old, guess what? It's coming again. Coming soon. It's coming soon. Total incapacitation is coming your way. And remember, you don't have to wait till 80 for that. All you need is a stroke. That's all you need. A stroke. 1, not 2, 1's enough. And what age do strokes happen? It's not age bound. When Tata feels like it, he sends you your gift. Because it's all on the conveyor belt. It's just a matter of time. Total incapacitation is coming our way for all of us. Mental exasperation, however, can be avoided. You can choose to be mentally exasperated. You can choose not to be left mentally exasperated. That you can do if you only allow the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha into your lives and allow the Dhamma to transform you and change you. But from time to time we need to be reminded of the fact that we need to do this earnestly. Heedfulness is a very important virtue because time's ticking by. I hope that by the end of next year you'll all be here. But something tells me that's only a fantasy. I won't be surprised if by the end of this, or by this time next year, 1 or 2 of you will have said their last goodbyes. I won't be surprised. Does that hurt you? Tough. And don't think that it's only the elderly. Each of us are excellent candidates. We're excellent candidates. Each of us are fully qualified. How about that? There's one thing in life you're always fully qualified for. To get into medical college, you need a lot of qualifications. To do science at college, you need a lot of qualifications. You need to be qualified. To become a husband, you need to be qualified. To become a father, you need to be qualified. To become a coconut plucker, you need to be qualified. But to die, you are qualified already. Fully qualified. And you're even given a certificate. It's called the certificate of birth. You know the birth certificate that you got? A copy all of you have? That qualifies you for what? Death. Just checking, does everyone have one? Just in case. So if you all have one of those, then fear not. Don't think, oh, what if I miss out? No, don't worry. If you have a birth certificate, you're fully qualified for death. Mental exasperation can be avoided, folks. The thing is this, even if it's not you that's going, it's going to be someone that you love. Someone that you care a lot about. Deeply. And the fear of, or the pain that comes with losing someone is as painful as your own loss. Some people fall so much that they can't be recovered. Have you not heard of couples, husband dies, and a week later, what happens? The wife dies. Physically there's no connection, but mentally there is every connection. Other times it's the other way around. Because mentally there's a very strong connection, and that connection is called attachment. That is why it's so important to sever that connection that is called attachment. I won't be surprised, as I say, by the end of next year, if one or two of you will have said their final goodbyes. I know you don't like to think about that. Tough. So from time to time we need to remind ourselves of this and how fortunate we are. There's a video that you have seen previously. You've seen this before, but I just thought I'd show it to you again. Before we take a few moments to reflect on how heedful we need to be. In other words, how earnest we need to be. How urgent what we need to be doing is. So let's watch the video and we will continue our discussion. Do you realize that they're also doing what you're doing now? Seeking their salvation. You're doing it sitting on a seat, listening to what I'm saying. That's how they're trying to do it. How foolish they are, not realizing the consequences of what they're doing. Each animal they behead, the consequences that they will have to suffer, all that in the name of salvation. This is your journey, don't you forget. Each of these things we will have all done on our journey getting here. Some people believe that is chanting the Buddha's sutras with melody is the path to salvation. Don't forget, we were all there. be hasty. The birth of a Buddha is very rare. Being born a human is very rare. Receiving the gift of what you need to understand the Dhamma is rare. Receiving the Dhamma itself is very rare. And being in the presence of noble ones is extremely rare. Do you realize why I keep asking you to be hasty with this? Understand the importance of this? We need to remind ourselves from time to time, folks, how many hurdles, how many obstacles you've jumped over to get to where you are right now. How many times might you have failed along the way, and yet today you are here. To be able to say that today I am the son, I am the daughter of the Buddha. How fortunate do you think you are? 105 people dying every minute. Every minute. That video was 20 minutes long. Surprise, you're still alive. Which means 105 others times 20 have already left this planet. Where they have gone, no one knows. Back into the infinite vast of this universe, all the way back to start that journey again. Do you realize how lucky you are? To be sat here in front of Him. That is your Marananusati. Realize that time's ticking by. One slip, one fall, one stroke, one skip of the heartbeat is all it takes to throw you right back in this game of snake and ladders, back to square one. Back to square one, and then you have to start again. Remember, to come where you have come thus far, you have consumed a tremendous amount of merit that you will have earned through your journey in samsara. So that merit has already been consumed, don't forget. You've got to earn new merit now to be back where you are today. This is why engaging in meritorious deeds is essential. An essential part of everyone's lives. Lay or clergy, does it not matter? Seek every opportunity for that. For instance, when you come here, seek every opportunity for that. It always delights me to see the flower arrangements that you make as an offering to the Buddha. It always delights me. The effort that is put into making that flower arrangement is simply marvelous. Offering some refreshments, helping someone to a seat, asking them, are you comfortable, can I get you anything? Every little thing. Make use of every opportunity to engage in as much merits as you possibly can. Do the best you can for your parents. Look after them. Respect your teachers, respect your elders, respect your parents. All of these are meritorious deeds. In the 10 meritorious deeds, respecting those who deserve respect is one of the meritorious deeds. All of that is required to get you to where you are today. Just in case you slip and fall, and you need to start this journey again, you need merit. Because we don't know who's going first. Like I said, I just have a feeling that this time next year, a few of us won't be meeting again. Let's just hope that's not you. So now we have this opportunity. We need to make the most of it. Of course, from time to time we need to remind ourselves that we need to do this urgently and earnestly. But just constantly reflecting on that alone is not enough. We need to do something eagerly and earnestly and urgently. And that something is what we are going to be doing next. That is the Asubhanusati. Because for as long as we feel that something is subha, which is worthy of becoming, we will be coming back into this cesspit that is samsara. So to get out of here once and for all, Asubhanusati is what we need to do. For as long as we sense that there is something pleasurable, joyful and essence-full in existence, existence will continue. So the only way to break this cycle of rebirth, break this cycle of suffering and coming back into samsara, the only way to break it, there are no two ways, there's only one way. The only way to break it is to reflect on anicca, dukkha and anatta, which is all part of Asubhanusati. So last week we spoke about that, and I think we talked about a four-stepped approach. Those who were here will remember. We broke it down into 4 simple steps. A methodological approach to solving the problem. Because we discussed that Buddhism is about problem-solving techniques, right? Remember from last week? It's problem-solving techniques. So what was the first step to solving problems? Because I'm going to give you some problems now to solve. This is part of the Asubhanusati, before we go into the Mettanusati and close today's session. So what is the first step in problem solving? Do we have last week's saved? Could you bring that up, please? Thanks to scientists, right? So I'm not going to go through this in great detail because that was last week. I'm just going to do a quick refresher before we get into the problems. How to solve practical everyday problems. So we took an example problem. I want to have ice cream, but there's none left in the freezer. And then we looked at who the parties involved are. Because my brother fancies ice cream, so he always eats all the ice cream. So we thought that was the problem. And we considered some of the solutions that we would normally take, which involves going to the supermarket and getting more ice cream, something that we normally might do. Going to my brother to teach him a lesson, or going to my mother and asking for her to have a word with my brother. But there was a fundamental flaw with each of these solutions. Do you remember what that was? What was it? What was it? We were going to somebody else, externally. You were looking for a solution externally, not within ourselves. We were looking for a solution from somebody else. So step 1 of the problem-solving technique involved going to whom? Going to yourself. Going to myself to identify the problem. So we are not any longer talking about trying to solve problems with others, but the solution to every mental frustration lay with us and not anybody else. How do we check whether it's a mental problem or a physical problem? That's what we talked about next. And for this, as you can see for you it's going to be the right hand side of the board, 1, 2, 3, 4 with some crosses. Do you see that? Hunger and thirst, shelter, clothes and medicines for ailments. These 4 things are problems in the physical realm. If you are hungry, no amount of anicca, dukkha and anatta can help you there. If you need shelter, no amount of anicca, dukkha, anatta can help you there. If you need clothing and if you need medicines when you are ill, no amount of reflecting on anicca, dukkha, anatta can help you there. Buddhanusati, Marananusati doesn't help you there. Asubhanusati doesn't help you there. For that, you need the basic requisites, as do all monks. This is why the things that you offer to monks must include all these, one or more of these. So if it's outside of these 4, then it's not something that the Buddha has condoned for monks to use. It has to fall within these 4. Hunger and thirst, shelter, clothes and medicines. Well, alongside there will be things like books and pens and things like that, in today's day and age, to help others to achieve their salvation, with the evolving. Because one might ask, then what about this, Swaminathan? What is this going to help with? So, there are certain practices and customs that we have come to. So what about this? Is this hunger and thirst, shelter, clothing or medicines? But someone offered this. I didn't bring this with me. Someone offered this. So all this is for the exposition of the Dhamma. Right? So all of that is for that. Whiteboard markers, these things, bed, tables, computers. Because one might ask, well, why do you need these then? Yes, for my sustenance, I don't need that. All of this is to help other people. So I want you to now think about yourself. When you're trying to solve a problem, first ask yourself, is it one of these 4 things? Is it hunger, shelter, clothes or medicines I need? If it's that, anicca, dukkha, anatta is not your answer. But for anything else, you need to come back to yourself and find a solution. That's when we started to analyze the problem. Can you take us down, please, Dasandru? So then we talked about going to the roots of the problem with our root cause analysis. And root cause analysis is what it says on the tin. It's root cause. Rather than going to the branches of the tree, we need to look down at the root cause. I want ice cream, but I don't have any. So we drew a line somewhere in the middle of that sentence and said, depending on which part of the sentence you look an answer for, or you look for an answer to this problem, determines whether you are using the Arya approach or the Anarya approach, the non-Aryan approach. If you are looking for an answer in the but I don't have any, that's not a very Arya way of solving the problem. It's not the Buddha's way. The Buddha's way involves looking at the problem on the left-hand side, which is the I want ice cream part. So with every problem that I'm going to give you in a moment, you need to be able to do this. First, check if it's one of the 4 things, the 4 requisites. If it's not, then you know straight off the bat that this is a problem whereby an answer to which you need to come to whom? To yourself. And then you need to start going to the root cause of the problem. Not having something is not the problem. Wanting something is the problem. How do we know that wanting something is the problem? Take us down, please, Dasandru. Because we talked about cause and effect, and we discussed how when you want something, you have the problem of not having it and therefore you suffer. And then, when you can't bear the pain of not having something, you engage in various activities. Those activities aren't fun either. This is the abhisankara, which is not fun. But you do this because when you put it on the scale, so this is all, should all start coming back from last week. I'm not going to go into detail today. All should start coming back from last week. When you put it on the scale, there's the pain of not having and then there's the pain of activity. When you put it on the scale, if it begins to tilt one way, now you are willing to go and do the abhisankara in order to relieve yourself from the pain of not having it. But when the pain of abhisankara gets too much, now you'll stop doing the abhisankara and you are willing to bear the pain, to endure the pain of not having it. Right? So that's the balance you're always tilting. And then eventually, once you do the abhisankara, you get to a state of happiness or pleasure. But now we know that this pleasure is overrated. It's not what it really is. It's not what it sounds like. Okay? Pleasure is simply relief from vexation. That much we know now, and it's not something that comes from the item or the person or the event that we were looking for pleasure from. Take us further down, please. So then we talked about want, and wanting being the problem. We looked at what causes it. So that's when we got to the causes of wanting. So you'll see wanting on the board, which is somewhere. Can you point at wanting, please? No, down. Further down. Yeah, that one. And so we started to look at the causes of it. Because we are talking about cause and effect method of problem solving, if we don't like the effect of something, all we need to do is to get to the cause of it. Deal with the causes and the effect will be dealt with. You don't need to deal with the effect. You only need to deal with the causes. We talked about a fire as an example plenty times, right? So you know all of this. And wanting is caused by attachment or liking. And that liking is caused by a set of beliefs. And that's a good thing, is it not? If all your suffering is because of a set of beliefs, isn't that a good thing? What if all your suffering was because of the way your thumb pointed? Now what would you have to do? You have to chop it and turn it around and fix it the other way around. That's a lot of work. But if it's only a set of beliefs, all you need to do is change your set of beliefs. How painful is that? Well, it shouldn't be. I know it's painful, but it shouldn't be. Because after all, you're not doing any physical changes to the world. It's simply removing the software, putting in a new software. You don't need to take any screws. This is nothing to do with the hardware. It's only the software. So easy to change. So that's your set of beliefs. Okay, take us further down, please. So that's when we got to the Buddha's teaching. So we need to remove the set of beliefs which we have held on to up until this point throughout our journey in samsara, which is that the things that we associate being Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana, or you could consider them as being sight, sound, smell, taste, touch and thoughts, are vexatious, joyful, or sufferable and essenceless. Essenceless is simply another word for meaningless, pointless. And you can also see the Sinhala terms and the Pali terms on the board as well. Right? So this is just a refresher from last week. I'm not going to go into the detail of that any further. So what we're going to do now then is I'm going to give you some problems and we're going to try and find some practical solutions for these problems. So once again, 4-step problem solving. 1, go to myself. That's where we start. 2, root cause analysis. Before we do that, first of all, you need to check whether this is a physical problem or if it's a mental problem. If it's a physical problem, you need not go any further. You can stop right there. Because you can just come back and say, Swamina, so that's to do with because I'm hungry. That's because I need clothes, I need shelter, I need medicines. Anicca dukkha anatta is not going to solve that problem and I'll accept that, no problem. But if it's a mental problem, now you need to go down and dig deeper into the problem and start to break down that problem into its various components and find out where is the problem causing component. Which is the component which is faulty. So is it the I don't have it or is it the I want it? And there's something really important I have to ask you to bear in mind at this point. Please don't make this an academic exercise. Just for the sake of entertainment or for the sake of interest, don't make it that. This has to be a very personal experience. You need to get into this. Because if you just make this academic or scholastic, then this just becomes a very technical sort of approach, and that's pointless. You're not going to go away with any less defilements as a result of that. You will go with more knowledge, but you will not have gained anything out of it. To gain something out of this has to become very personal for you. Okay? So you need to get into this and personalize this experience. It's not just like solving some mathematical problem. Although the steps are very logical, you need to experience this. And for that you need to get into it. So if with the problems that I'll be sharing with you, I need you to get into the shoes of the person that's experiencing that problem. Does that make sense? I want this to make this your problem and then try and find some answers to it. Okay, are we ready now? So I'm going to give you the problems. So these are practical problems that we come across in life, to which we need to find some answers. Because usually these problems will bring us some kind of pain and suffering. I'm going to start with a simple one, something that is going to be similar to what the example that we talked through, just to get you into the rhythm of things. So instead of ice cream this time round, it's kottu. I like to eat kottu. Has everyone eaten kottu, by the way? You know what kottu is? Yes? Good. I like to eat kottu. And I'd like to have kottu for dinner today. I've asked my father to bring me some when he comes back home from work. So I've been waiting for him to arrive. He's turned up, but alas, there's no kottu. He's brought rice and curry. That's not what I asked for. And now I feel quite disappointed. I need you to help me find an answer to this problem. So you can imagine me, just picture this, I have come to you and I have explained to you my problem. Dear madam, dear sir, Puta, I have a problem. I like to eat kottu. I asked my father to bring me some, or I asked Guru Swami Nhansi to bring me some, and he hasn't brought me any kottu today. He's only brought me plain rice and curry. And I feel quite disappointed. I need you to help fix me. Or fix Guru Hamru. Whichever. Okay, so that's number one. I'll give you a few, and you can pick a few and start working on them. Because you might fancy working on a different one. So I'll give you about 8 of them. I have 8 of them written down. You can pick about 5 of them and work on them. So number 2. I like to watch a particular channel on TV. Let's say it's the cricket. So I like to watch the cricket. And while I'm watching, my subscription has expired. A message comes on TV. And some of you have pay channels which you use to watch your sports or whatever. And as you're watching it, message comes up, your subscription has expired. You try to ring up the TV station to get you reconnected, but they won't answer the phone. They said, the message on the phone says, we are busy right now, please try again later. So this infuriates you, or me. I'm talking to you with my problem. This has infuriated me, and I've come to you looking for an answer. Ideally, you will help me file a complaint with the company that provides me with my cable TV and help me to seek compensation from them. Ideally, that is the answer I'm looking for. Let's see. Number 3. Oh, here's a good one. I asked a few of our monks to write this down for me. This was written down by a 14-year-old monk. Okay? Ready? The girl I used to go out with. And we broke up. But I have gotten news that she's dating somebody else. So you know how you troll on Facebook and you look up your exes? I know you do it. You look up your exes. Who are they with nowadays? Who are they dating? You go through their Facebook wall, you look at their pictures, who's liked them, who's commented on them. I know all of that. Don't you pretend like you don't do it. I know who you are. Right? So my ex is now dating somebody else, and that I find quite annoying. The fact that she's having a good time with her new partner and they're going on holiday, posting pictures on Facebook and sharing it with everybody. You know, she used to call me Lovey and now she calls Lovey somebody else, and this is quite unsettling, I find. So I need an answer to my problem. Please help me. Ideally, you will beat up the other guy so that he can never date my ex-girlfriend again. Number 4. My hair has started to go grey. I used to have a head full of jet black hair, and now it started to grey. showing me signs of old age. This morning I saw the first strand of grey hair, and it's quite taken me aback. So I'm not having a good day today. I need your help. Hopefully you can recommend a good specialist who can help me color my hair and put me back together. Number 5, it's a one-line sentence. It doesn't sound like I need help with this, but I think maybe. See what you think about it. I like fizzy drinks. That's it. I like fizzy drinks. I don't know if you see a problem there, but if you do, I'd like your help with that. I like fizzy drinks. Hopefully your answer back to that is, yeah, so do I, Swamina. So let's go and get something to drink. Hopefully that's the answer I hear back from you. Okay, I like fizzy drinks. Next one, my favorite color is, and whatever. Purple, green, orange, red, brown, black, white, whatever. So in other words, I have a favorite color. I have a favorite color. So that's just a statement. If you see a problem with that, then please help me. If you don't see a problem with that, okay. So I have a favorite color, and my favorite color is, okay, let's say blue. Next one. My child, or let's say my son or my daughter, never makes his or her bed in the morning. He never makes his bed. And I find that quite annoying as a mother or as a father. Every day I keep telling him, Buddha, make your bed before you go to school. Buddha, make your bed first thing when you get up. Then it's just so easy. It'll take you 2 minutes to make your bed. But never, thus far, has he paid any attention or listened to me. He always leaves his bed untidy and I have to go and fix it up. And that's quite annoying. Why won't he listen to me? Hopefully you will speak to him and get him to listen to me. So that's the answer I'm looking for. And the final one is, I've gotten news that someone's bad-mouthing me. I've gotten news. Someone's bad-mouthing me. Someone's saying bad things about me. Okay? Most of it is not true, but there are some of it may be true. Most of it is not true. So I'm quite infuriated by that someone thinks it's okay to bad-mouth me. And I need your help. Hopefully you and I, we can go and have a chat with this person, right? And give him a piece of our mind and hopefully get him to stop bad-mouthing me. Okay, so you understand what I've come to you looking for? Remind them again, I like to eat kottu. I asked my dad to bring me some and he hasn't brought any, which is quite disappointing. Hopefully you can help me go and find some kottu so we can have some for dinner. 2, I like to watch my cricket. Subscription has expired. I've rung up the company that provides me with my cable TV, and on the phone it says, we are busy right now, please ring again later. And that's really annoying, especially given that it's the World Cup that I'm watching and the last 15 minutes of it. So surely that should not even be allowed. That should be illegal. Right? To take away someone's subscription in the last 15 minutes, that should be illegal, surely. Right? So I need you to help me file a complaint. My ex-girlfriend is dating somebody. I've gotten news of that. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, and it's all over the place. And she seems to be having a really good time, which I don't like. Surely she should be quite disappointed. She should be having a very bad time, like me, when she gave me the dump. And fourthly, my hair started going grey. I need your help to fix me up. I like fizzy drinks. If there's a problem with that, please help. If not, then let's go get a drink. I have a favorite color. My child never makes his bed. And someone's bad-mouthing me. So I've given you 8 problems. Oh, I think they're problems. I need some help from you. How about you pick 5 of them, 5 that you like, and start working on them. Off you go. Okay. Do you need more time? Are we done? Put your hand up if you need more time. How many of you worked on number 1? Sorry, keep your hand up just for a little so I know how many. Okay, number 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8. Okay. Right. So the principle is the same for all of them. Okay? Let's walk through one of them. If we have time, we'll go through another. But I also want to leave some time for one of the most important things we are going to be doing today, which is why you brought the list of names. So we need to leave some time for that also. Let's go through one of them. I think most of you had your hand up for number 8. Someone's bad-mouthing me. Quite a few of you had your hand up for that. And I think number 2 was also a popular one, if I got the numbers right. Seven was also. Except maybe in some cases it's not my child, my husband never makes his bed. Okay. So let's go through one of them. Someone's bad-mouthing me. So this is a problem that we'll often come across, where you know that someone has been telling you off, or perhaps someone has been saying something with somebody else about you, and you get to hear about this. And it can be quite annoying, especially if you know that what they're saying is not true, right? That can be quite annoying. And it can bring about feelings of anger and resentment, and sometimes even disgust towards that person. Now, there are ways to make you feel better, which is what a lot of people will tell you when you talk to them, right? This so-and-so is bad-mouthing me. Usually, our friends will volunteer bits of advice like, don't think too much about it. It's just the way it is. Don't worry too much about it. They don't know what they're talking about. You know what they're like. They always badmouth everybody anyway. Right? So, this is about making your mind up. You don't need to make things up when they break. What we are trying to do is not make something that breaks. Make something up that breaks. What we are trying to do is to stop it from breaking in the first place. Right? And that is what we are using this problem-solving technique for. So, coping mechanisms, we're not going to be talking about. Coping mechanisms. How do you cope with it? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how do we solve this problem? Not cope with it, solve it. Right. So let's go to our problem-solving technique, 4-step approach. First of all, we need to go to myself. Someone is bad-mouthing me. Someone. Where's myself in this? Me. Someone's bad-mouthing me. Usually we look for an answer with the someone. Someone's bad-mouthing me, so let's go and sort him out. Let's go and ask him why he's saying like that. I don't deserve to hear things like that. But in our problem-solving technique, we go to myself. So how much of going to myself involves the other person? Nothing. That's why it says myself. Not the other self. This is myself. Entirely, 100% myself. So we need to go to myself. Now we start to identify the problem. Is this problem to do with hunger? Is it to do with hunger or thirst? Is it to do with shelter or clothing or some kind of disease that you have, an ailment? No. So surely then this problem is not in the physical realm. It's in the mental realm. This is a mental problem that needs a solution. Then we start to analyze the problem. Someone is bad-mouthing me. So what do we need to do? Go to the root of the problem. To go to the root of the problem, we do a root cause analysis. This is where we write the problem statement down and then draw a line where we believe the problem might be. So in the sentence, someone's bad-mouthing me, there is actually the bit that we need to find the answer to is not here. It's hidden. It's not obvious, but it's there. It's hidden. Someone's bad-mouthing me and I don't like it. That's the bit, right? Someone's bad-mouthing me and I don't like it. So that bit I didn't say to you, but that I wanted you to think about. And I don't like it. So where do we draw the line? Someone's bad-mouthing me and I don't like it. Where should we draw the line? And is usually a good place to draw a line. Someone's bad-mouthing me and I don't like it. What matters now is which bit of this sentence do we now try and find an answer to? Do we go and look an answer for the someone's bad-mouthing me portion, or do we look an answer for the I don't like it portion? I don't like it. That's where we need to try and find an answer to. If you want to find an answer to someone's bad-mouthing me, then you need to go and speak to the person who's bad-mouthing you. So surely there in itself you realize that it involves an external party. We are about trying to find a solution without external parties' involvement. Entirely ourselves. Because this is about becoming independent. No dependencies. I and I alone determines when I'm happy and when I'm unhappy. There's no other person involved in this problem. Okay? So, I don't like it is the portion to which we need to try and find an answer to. Keep going. Okay. So in the sentence, I don't like it. Let me write it out on the board. So we have someone bad-mouthing me and I don't like it. We agreed that this is the bit you're going to find an answer to, right? So we cross this bit out. We're not interested in that. All in agreement? Yeah, we're not interested in this bit. Because this involves going to somebody else. We're not interested in that. We need to find an answer all by ourselves. We need to become self-sufficient. To do this, if you are using our problem-solving technique, we need to be able to do a cause and effect. We need to be able to identify the cause and effect. And we said that wanting is the problem. So how do we write a sentence, a statement out of this, I don't like it? How do we identify, because we need to be able to construct a sentence that has the word want in it. I don't want that to happen, and I always want to hear good things about me. You can go with either of these. What matters is to get a sentence, a statement out with the word want in it. Okay? So, someone's bad-mouthing me. I don't like it. We realize that someone's bad-mouthing me involves going to another party to solve this problem. We're not interested in that. We're all about solving the problem in-house, not going outside. In-house, I don't like it. That does not involve a third party. All by myself. Now we take that portion and write down a statement with the word want in it. We've managed to write down two statements with the word want in it. And you can try and find a solution to either of these. Either of these, work on it and you're fine. Okay? I don't want that to be, I don't want to hear. I don't want that to happen. Thank you. I don't want that to happen. Now, if we go for I don't want that to happen, It sounds a lot like this. Because again, you have a don't. So if you don't want this to happen, then that leaves another follow-on question. What is it that you want to happen? Yeah? Which is the second one? I want to hear good things said about me. I want to hear good things said about me. So it's fine. Both of these are fine. This is simply an extension of that. This is a follow-on from this. I don't want that to happen. Well, the question is then, what do you want to happen? Because the wanting is the problem. So, I want good things to be said about me. To be said about me. Now, why do we want things? Actually, no, before we do that, what's the problem with wanting? Because we mustn't ever deal with the problem if we don't see the consequences of that. If we don't see the problem with solving a problem, we must just leave it alone. Don't solve a problem if it's not a problem. Right? Otherwise, you end up with bigger problems if you don't realize why you're solving that problem. So what is the problem with wanting to hear good things? What is the problem with that? You can't expect people to say it. Obviously, you can't expect people to say that. So when you want something, can you see what I'm writing on the board now? I'll move this up. When you want good things to be said about you, you go to the default state of, you don't have it. Don't have it. So the mind is wanting to hear good things being said about you. That's what you're expecting, because it makes you feel good. Okay? But when you want something, by default you don't have it. So now you're waiting for someone to come and say something nice about you. When you're waiting for someone to come and say something nice about you, the moment someone says something, what you're doing is now you're comparing it to what you wanted to hear. You wanted to hear good things being said about you, but what they came and did was bad-mouthed you. So now there's a comparison that's going on. So at the end of that comparison, you realize it's not what I wanted to hear. Because they have bad-mouthed you. You wanted them to say good things about you, but they have ended up bad-mouthing you. So you're in a state where you don't have what you wanted. And this is a state of what? Joy or suffering? Suffering. So smiley face or sad face? Sad face. Okay? What normally people do is when they're here, they try and get the other person to stop bad-mouthing. Or better, if they can actually change their opinion and start to get them to say good things about them. That doesn't happen automagically. Not automatically, auto-magically. It doesn't happen like that. Okay? That requires work. You need to do something to influence them. You need to say things. Sometimes you might have to impress them. Maybe try and look good in front of them. Take gifts, send them a card. Maybe go and speak to them. None of which is comfortable doing. You have to go, why did you say like that about me? See, all of this, this requires effort. And that is all activities. All of these are activities. These activities are not fun. But, remember the scale. When someone keeps bad-mouthing you, if this is the suffering of not having what you want, which is this part, and this is the suffering of activities that you have to do to redeem yourself, relieve yourself of that suffering, whenever someone keeps saying bad things about you, that keeps adding weight to this side of the scale. Okay, it keeps adding weight to this side of the scale, and eventually this is going to tilt, something like this. When this happens, now you're prepared to do activity to get rid of this suffering, because you can no longer bear this pain. This wasn't fun, but this wasn't fun either. At some point, this became much less fun than this. In other words, this became a lot more suffering than this. The activity required to relieve yourself from suffering. So what you then did was you actually engaged in activities in the hope that you can transform this to this, or at least to something like this. This is what you are hoping for. This is where you are now. So you did activities. So these activities, they're not fun either. So again, you can't draw a smiley face there, although it seems like it's a smiley face, but in actual sense, that's also a sad face. So that's not fun. Let's say, ultimately you talk to them and you convince them that they shouldn't be bad-mouthing you, so you have influenced them and now they're beginning to say good things about you. They used to backstab and backbite and say bad things, but now they're okay. They're starting to say good things about you. Although I thought she was like this, she's not all that bad. They're starting to say good things about you. When that happens, now you're beginning to feel like this. Like this. So this suffering has now reduced. So what used to be heavy here, all that weight is gone, but the weight of activities have been building up. So therefore the activity stops at that point. The activity stops. Relief from this pain that you endured there now brings you pleasure. This is where you normally draw a smiley face to say, thankfully, now they don't badmouth me. I'm happy now. Now I'm happy. Do you feel better when you hear good things being said about you from someone who always says good things about you, or from someone who has been bad-mouthing you and then one day, like all out of the blue, they just say something good about you? Which feels better? The second, right? Someone who always says good things about you, yeah, it's like you don't care too much about that. That's because it's not the good things that are being said that makes you feel good. It's the relief from vexation that makes you feel good. Like I remember when I was at school, some of my teachers, they were very fond of me. And then there were other teachers who didn't like me very much. So to get them to say something good about me was, oh my God, that was a task. I had to impress them. I had to do my work on time, and I have to do various things to impress them. Get up from the seat when they walk into the classroom, go and worship them. We used to do those things just to get them to say a good word about you. Whereas there were some other teachers, they were so nice all the time. So to get them to say Honda Puta didn't mean much. But to get our tough teachers who were quite strict to say, oh good, well done, that really felt like you'd earned a medal. Right? So really it's not the word that's being said that brings you that pleasure, it's the relief from vexation. So really if it's relief from vexation that brings you pleasure, then although that's a smiley face, behind that smiley face there's actually a sad face. In actual fact, that's actually a mask. We're wearing a mask. Behind that mask is the actual face, which is the relief from vexation that happened. Okay? So this is why when you want something, in this case, wanting someone to say good things about you, it's actually a bundle of suffering behind. You can't really expect that to bring you joy. And besides, when they don't say something good about you, you're suffering. Activities required to get them to say something good about you, that's also suffering. And again, once you're here, once they have started saying good things about you, what's the next thing you need to be worried about? Maintain that. You've got to maintain that. When you're good in class, you have to maintain that. As I said, if you're last in class, you don't need to do anything to maintain that. But if you're first in class, you always have to work towards that. If you're your teacher's favorite, you have to work towards maintaining that. So that maintenance is a lot of work. It's not fun. A lot of work. So that's not fun either. So you see, although we thought wanting to hear good things was a good thing, as a matter of fact, it's just a lot of pain behind it. So we didn't see that. So therefore now we have this new interest to eradicate this wanting, which we didn't want up until now. Now we want to get rid of that wanting. Therefore we go into the methodology of cause and effect. Whatever it is that gets you to want something, if you eradicate that, the cause, then the effect will be gone. So why do we want something? Because we like it. I like to hear good things being said about me. That's why I want someone to say good things about me. Then the question is, why do we like something? What are the causes? Why do we like something? Set of beliefs. It's a set of beliefs. Because we believe that saying good things about me, good things will be something like, he's smart, he's clever, pretty, lovely. What else? What are some of the good things that you get to hear from people? Do people say good things about you still? When you come to Dharmayai Obai, surely. He's generous. He's a gentleman. So these are good things that people might say about you. Don't you like to hear someone say you're smart? Come on. That you dress very smart, in a very smart way. That you're very neat and you're very tidy and you're a gentleman. Look at that chap, he's quite the gentleman, isn't he? That lady, she's quite pretty, isn't she? Don't you like to hear someone say that about you? That you're very clever? Does it not make your day feel like you're on cloud nine when someone says, she's very clever? Or he's very clever. Instead of saying he's a gobya. And someone says, you're very clever. How does that make you feel? Quite good, right? Yes. Why is that? Because that's what you like and that's what you believe is pleasurable. You like to hear that because you believe that those words bring me pleasure. That's simply a set of beliefs. But what you've done in wanting to hear such things is you've put yourself into a state of vexation. Always wanting, always yearning. That's a good word. Yearning. As in always in a state of wanting. Need more. Always yearning for that to happen. For that, whatever you want to materialize. And that's a state of, it's an unsettled state of mind. Like Groundhog Day. Did anyone go back home and watch the movie? Last week we spoke of Groundhog Day, where Christmas never comes, it's always Christmas Eve. Every day the guy wakes up and it's Christmas Eve. It's never Christmas Day. So he's yearning for Christmas Day to come. So like that, whenever there's something you want, you're always yearning for that to come alive, for that to happen. So this is why these things that you believe are pleasurable, enjoyable or joyful, and essential. We have talked about them in great detail in previous sermons, so I'm not going to delve into them today. It will take forever to talk about that. But hopefully when we talk about these things now, all the things that we've spoken about must come back into your mind. So this is a set of beliefs, folks. It's a set of beliefs. For as long as you believe that these words are pleasurable, these words are joyful, these words are essential, I like these things. And for as long as you like these things, you will want those things. And for as long as you want those things, you will be in a state of suffering. In other words, you have exposed yourself to pain and suffering from the outside world. What we are about is cutting off that exposure, minimizing your exposure, all the way to completely eradicating your exposure to outside effects taking away your happiness. And you do that by engaging in this process of instilling the Buddha's Dhamma in your mind. So the Buddha's Dhamma is simply nothing other than the opposite of this. If this is a set of beliefs, now you have a new set of beliefs. This is the old set of beliefs. Old set of beliefs. Now you have the new, or the Buddha's teaching set of beliefs. Instead of pleasurable, you have vexations. Instead of joyful, you have sufferable. And instead of essential, you have essenceless. This is not just tricking ourselves, by the way, okay? This is not brainwashing or fooling ourselves to believe this. This is the truth. Remember we spoke last week about there was a signpost You drove up to that signpost and it said waterfall this way. You kept driving along that road. You get to the end of it and you realize there's no waterfall. Now what's the conclusion you come to? The signpost was pointing in the wrong direction. The information you got was incorrect. Now what you're doing is, based on that, your experience, you're now rectifying the information. This information is wrong. This is the right information. So now you're replacing your old set of beliefs with your new set of beliefs. Because if you believe that something is vexatious, sufferable, and essenceless, you will never like that. What you will never like, you will never want. And what you don't want will never put you into a state of suffering. So at that point, no matter what someone says, whether they be bad-mouthing you or not, you don't care. It doesn't bother you. So really what Buddhism helps you to do is to get to a state by where you can say, don't care. I don't care. Not spitefully, by the way. Some people say, I don't care spitefully. She's saying this about you. I don't care. Whereas actually I do care. But I just don't like to show that I care. You say, I don't care. So what did she say? So that's not really I don't care. You do care. But if you really follow Buddhist principles, then you get to a point where you can actually say, I don't care. Not spitefully. Quite coolly and calmly you say, it's fine. If that's what they want to say, let them continue saying that. So that was someone's bad-mouthing me. Let's take another one quite quickly. My child never makes his bed. Who worked on that? Okay, child never makes his bed. Let's again start with going to whoself? Going to myself. Let's go to myself. So do I go to my child about him not making his bed? No. In the household, of course, go to your child. Right? That is a different matter. Of course, you need to get your child to learn to make his bed. This is about mental suffering. When you see that they haven't made their bed, you begin to suffer. Come on, what's the connection? That's a bed and this is your mind. There's no connection between these two. But there is something that you put into this that connects these two events. Your mind suffering and the bed having not been made. And that word is attachment. Or in other words, wanting. So once you have realized, I'm mentally suffering and I need to go to myself, ask yourself the 4 questions. Is it because I'm hungry? No. Is it because I need shelter? No. Is it clothing? No. Is it medicines? No. So it's not a physical problem, it's a mental problem. Now with the mental problem, let's go and do the root cause analysis. My child hasn't made his bed. Never makes his bed. What's the other part of that sentence? And I want him to. And I want him to. I want him to make his bed and he never makes his bed. So then we write down the sentence. I want my child to make his bed, but he never makes it. He never does so. Then we need to eliminate the bit that we are not interested in. The bit that we can actually find an answer to. What's that bit? I want him to make his bed. So now we have a sentence with the word want in it. Then we begin to understand what is the problem with wanting. The problem is wanting is when you want something, immediately you don't have it. This is why you have come to complain about it. My child never makes his bed. You're here because you want it, but it's not happening. So you know, of course, that that's suffering. Then you are asking about ways that you could get your child to make his bed. You didn't enjoy that. Otherwise you would have come and asked me before that anyway. But you're coming now because you are suffering so much that when you put it on the scale, it's now tilting so much so that you can no longer bear this problem. You need help. So therefore, activities that are required to relieve you of that pain, you are willing to now endure. So the activities are not fun either. Eventually, you're somehow trying to get him to make his bed. When you see him having made his bed, that makes you feel good. But of course, you know that pleasure only comes from relief from vexation. Because guess what? Let's say you get him to make his bed, and now he learns to make his bed. You'll only feel so happy about it for the first week. Second, third, fourth week, if now it becomes a habit of his to make his bed every day, when you see the made-up bed, doesn't do anything for you. Now you start looking at other things. He doesn't polish his shoes. Up until that point, that wasn't the problem. Him not making his bed was the problem. So you see that it's not him doing it or not doing it that is the problem. It's you vexing about it and not getting what you want. So wanting has to be the problem then. So when wanting is the problem, you need to eradicate wanting. To eradicate wanting, you need to go to the cause of that. And the cause is liking it. So then you need to get to the cause of liking. The cause of liking is a set of beliefs. Set of beliefs that seeing a made-up bed is what is pleasurable, is joyful, and that is essential. Ashvada sapasara, or nitya sukhatta. Wrong set of beliefs, wrong information. Replace it with the correct information. Having replaced with the correct information, now you continue to reflect on this. So this is not an overnight thing. Okay, this is the practice thing that you have to do. So, in real terms, right, let's say when you're at home, now that we've talked about this, when you get back home, it may be that even tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up and see that your son hasn't made his bed. What I want you to do, folks, is having learned this, when you see that, I don't want you to get into a mental agony. I want you to be able to stop for a brief moment and ask yourself, hang on a second, what did Swami Nuhanse say I should do in this situation? Didn't he give me a problem-solving technique? Didn't we talk about a problem-solving technique? He said, go to myself, not to go to my son. What am I doing? Why am I shouting at him? I should be solving this problem within myself. So the problem here is, I want him to have made his bed. Yes, of course I'm going to tell him to make his bed, but I'm suffering now mentally. My suffering is caused only by myself, nothing to do with him. Right? So that mental suffering bit is what we are solving here. So that's how you solve that problem. Once you come to this new information, now you contemplate it. Every time you see a bed has not been made, reflect on it. What about the times when you actually see the bed has been made? Now what happens? My son always makes his bed, and I like it. Isn't there a problem with that? Of course there's a problem with that. Because if your son always makes his bed, and you like it, again you have exposed yourself to disappointment. Because what happens the day he doesn't make his bed? So you see, when you want something, it does not matter whether you have it or you don't have it. You suffer nevertheless. Either through the sorrow or the grief of loss, or through the fear of having it, or the fear of losing it. The grief of having lost it, or the fear of you might lose it. When you want something, you're in constant fear. Now think about all the things you want. Right? Times that by the number of things you want. And inside of that is also the activities that you need to do to get from X to Y. This is why if ever there's anything you want, in just simply wanting something, you give up your mental happiness. You surrender your mental happiness altogether. So the same principles go for the rest of them also. Did any of you struggle with any of them in particular? Is there any one of you who wants to take any one of those examples in particular and talk about it? Before we move on to the final segment of the session today. Okay, good. So hopefully what that means is you're all able to apply the principles of the Buddhist teaching into practical problems. So all of these are practical problems. So I want you to now start looking for practical problems in your day-to-day lives and use this methodology. Because in doing so, you will find immense mental happiness. Even when the world turns upside down, you'll be able to stay unflustered and disappointment-free. Free of mental agony, pain, stress, sorrow. Wouldn't that be great? To have no stress, to not know the day, to not know the last day you were stressed. Seriously, I can't remember the last day I was stressed. I tell you this, I can't remember the last day I was stressed. There are problems that I deal with, challenges that come my way, but they can't stress me anymore. But I do know that when I used to be at work, plenty times, I've been stressed out. I used to have a stress ball. And I used to go for a walk. Sometimes I used to have a chocolate just to help me relieve my stress. Go for a coffee. I can't focus on this anymore. I just need to go get some fresh air. I used to do all these things. Go for a drive to relieve myself of stress. And all those times I was doing something pointless. Because stress wasn't caused by external factors. Stress was entirely caused by my attachment, a mental fabrication. Having realized that, I'm today stress-free. I don't take stress tablets. Do you? Okay. So when you get back home, make sure you continue to focus on those problems, and find practical solutions. And each of those solutions have to start with myself. Don't go looking for answers externally. Okay, let's get to the final segment of today's session, which is the Arya Maitreya. Hopefully you all brought with you a list of names of the people who have made a difference in your life, made a huge impact in your life for the better, done great things and helped support you, assisted you, helped you. We will be transferring merits in a moment, and we will be transferring merits to all of them, because among them will be those who are still among the living, and among them will also be those who have passed away. Okay? So those who have passed away will require merits, in the event that they are in a place where merits are required. And those among the living will always benefit from benevolent and compassionate thoughts that you spread towards them. So in your list will be people like your parents, there will be brothers and sisters, grandparents maybe, perhaps your teachers, your neighbors, perhaps the Pang van that used to drive in front of your house every day, which is where you got your breakfast from. Or maybe your caretaker, or perhaps the uncle who was in the canteen. He was one of my most favorite people when I used to go to school. Always used to lend me money, or give me something for free, and said, "Putta, you can bring me the money tomorrow." Some of the days I forgot to take the money, but he was so kind like that. Among those names will be your best friends. Maybe those who used to be friends but no longer are friends. But still, they did great things to shape your life. There may be exes, maybe ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, maybe ex-husbands, ex-wives. Right? Still, they did wonderful things to your life to help get you where you are today. All of them shaping what little they could, doing what little they could to get you where you are today. There will be your teachers right from the starting years of your school, your formative years, all the way until perhaps today, where you have teachers of the Dhamma who help shape your life. Okay? So there will be those who have mentioned, as well as a lot more people. Uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews, a lot more people. There may be doctors who have helped you when you were ill and who supported you, nurses, right? Or caretakers. There will be lots of people there. So of course I haven't got time to go through an entire list of them. But what I want you to do is, I want you all to now take a moment to go through that list. Just read it from top to bottom. Take in a few moments, with each name you stop, take a few moments to remind yourself about the greatness that they have shown you, the compassion that they have shown you, the generosity that they have extended towards you, the selflessness that they extended towards you, and how much you gained positively through your association with them. So take a few moments just to go through each of those names and reminding yourself of the greatness that they have shown you. Let's take 5 minutes to do that. And don't forget your co-workers, your managers, colleagues, the postman, the shopkeeper who owns the shop that is closest to where you live, which is where you usually go for your top-ups. The monks who are resident in your local temples. Maybe that's where you went to the Hampasal as a young child. Perhaps your aunt who was always by your side to support you. Perhaps your boarding school, headmaster, headmistress. the janitor in your office who always makes sure that your office is clean and tidy when you get in there. They clean the toilets that you use. Think about how much people put themselves through just to make your life comfortable. And the bus driver who brings you here every Sunday, as well as those people who lead our country. Thanks to them we don't have to worry about that. Who protect our nation from threats. The farmers and the fishermen who put food on your plate every day, but they themselves put themselves through a lot of hardship to do that on your behalf. People who keep your streets tidy, the people who are involved in getting electricity to your home. If not for them, you would be living in darkness. Think about how many people actually put a lot of work in making your existence as comfortable as it is today. You couldn't do any of these things all by yourself. How reliant we are on so much people, so many people. Your barber, your optician, your family doctor, your dentist, all these people who seem to be capable of doing such amazing and wonderful things just to help make your existence as comfortable as it could be. Your maid, if you might have one at home, who looks after the household, who cooks for you, who cleans for you, looks after your children, who they themselves might be leaving their children at home to come and look after your own. Your tuition masters, if you have had to make use of any, as you grew up. Your brothers and sisters, wherever they may be today, supporting you, being a strength. Whenever you have a problem, all you need to do is give them a call, and then they'll talk you through any problem you have and always be a strength to you. All these people who have been so amazing. Behind the scenes they've done so much to help you live your life this far with as little pain and discomfort as possible. Okay? So what we're going to do now is we are going to be spreading the Arya Maitreya to all of them. Because what we know for a fact is unless we are in receipt of the Buddha's teaching, the process of suffering runs within each of those minds. And they're in despair, they're destitute. Today you have discovered the Buddha's teaching, which is helping you day by day to relieve yourself and put a stop to suffering once and for all. So the best gift that we can give all of these people, whether they are among the living today or those among the dead, the best gift we can give them is our blessings, that may they be able to understand the teaching of the Supreme Buddha, such that may they be able to put an end to suffering themselves. And that is noble compassion. So as I now chant the Arya Maitreya, I want you all to spread those benevolent feelings and sentiments and that compassion from the bottom of your heart to all those beings, anyone and everyone who might have helped you, however little it may be, to help make your life as good and as comfortable as it is today. And because we're all doing this together, it has a really strong impact and a really strong effect. Because as we do it collectively, its strength is magnified and amplified. Okay? So let's do that for a few moments. And then we'll also transfer merits to them before we close the session today. Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satmayo sansara dahayen midetma sansara rogayen midetma sansara anduren midetma sansara ginnen midetma sansara katarin midetma Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satmayo jati ginnen midetva jara ginnen midetva vyadhi ginnen midetva marana ginnen midetva Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satmayo shoka ginnen midetma paridevayen midetma dukkha ginnen midetma domanassayen midetma upayasayen midetma yampittam nalabati tampi dukkhayen midetma Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Nibbana parama sukhayen sukitatarvetva Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satmayo raga bandhanayen midetva desha bandhanayen midetva moha bandhanayen midetva සුඛයෙන් සුඛිතතර වෙත්වා නිබ්බාන පරම සුඛයෙන් සුඛිතතර වෙත්වා නිබ්බාන පරම සුඛයෙන් සුඛිතතර වෙත්වා. Now spread your compassionate thoughts to all the beings in 10,000 world systems and in every tiny space throughout this entire universe, wherever they may be, in the Kama Lokas, Rupa Lokas, Arupa Lokas, in the hope that may they all be able to achieve the ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Kama Loka Anatai Ein Midetva Rupa Loka Anatai Ein Midetva Arupa Loka Anatai Ein Midetva Siyalu Loka Anatai Ein Midetva Ataharima Natai Ataharima Vetva Noelma Natai Noelma Vetva Midima Natai Midima Vetva Nivanama Natai Nivanama 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 Vetva. May all beings in all worlds attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Okay, let us all take a moment to transfer the merits that we have all acquired today. Remind yourselves that you have acquired a tremendous amount of merit today in reflecting on Anicca Dukkha Anatta, Buddhanussati, Marananussati, Asubhanussati, and finally Mettanussati. That's a tremendous amount of merit, as well as the offerings that you will have made to the Noble Triple Gem. Okay, so let's take a moment to transfer all those merits to all those who deserve merit, and also let us wish for those merits to help us complete our journey in samsara once and for all. And in the new year, may this be the last year that we spend with any defilements in our minds. Let's make that our resolve and let us transfer the merits. First and foremost, let us all, as we did at the beginning, take a moment to remind ourselves that it is because of the Supremely Enlightened One, the Perfect One, the Omniscient One, the Magnificent One, that we have the gift of Dhamma today. He is the Master, He is our teacher. Reflecting on that and reminding ourselves of that, let us take a moment to remind ourselves of the Bhikkhu, Bhikkhunis, Upasika, Upasikas, who since time immemorial protected and preserved the teaching of the Great One and passed it down to us through word of mouth as well as in the form of the Tripitaka and in the noble lineage, passed it down to us, which is available for us today to study, understand, analyze and comprehend. May they all rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today. Let us also take a moment to transfer merits to all the members of the Mahasangha, wherever they may be resident throughout this world, not forgetting for a moment the members of the Mahasangha resident in your local temples and in your local nunneries. It is they who have always been by your side through thick and thin, come rain or shine. It is there you have sent your children to the Hampasal, or perhaps you as a young child would have gone to the Hampasal as well. The Lokaswami Mahanses as well as the Bodhiswami Mahanses who are resident there, who have all donned robes to attain their bliss of Nibbana. However, they have put aside time from that precious life of theirs to help you as well as others around you. Let us transfer the merits that we have all acquired to all of them, and may through the power of these merits, if any of them have today been born in the woeful states, be able to redeem themselves from such woeful states and be born in the blissful plane, and may through the power of all those merits they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer merits to Guru Swami Mahanse, as well as all the other monks resident at this monastery, as well as the Anagarikas who are resident at this monastery, as well as those who have helped make this event a success throughout the year gone by, in every way that they could, in every little shape or form that they could, however small or large, by providing you with transport to be here throughout the year gone by making you aware of these sermons, by spreading word and by word of mouth, as well as in transcribing these sermons such that it is available for others to read and understand, as well as by offering you with refreshments as you come and go out of here. In whatever capacity anyone and everyone might have helped and supported these sermons as well as these proceedings, may they all rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today, as well as the monks and Anagarikas who have throughout this year taken great efforts to decorate the stage that has been used as an offering to the Dhamma. May they all be able to rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today, and may through the power of those merits, may they all be able to abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer merits to those of your families who are among the living today, your parents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, nephews, nieces, grandparents, and so on and so forth, as well as your colleagues and co-workers who have always been supportive of your attending these sermons and always encouraged you and supported you and helped you and assisted you, relieved you of your duties and responsibilities such that you could be here in the weeks and months and year that has passed by. In whatever way, shape or form they might have contributed, may they all be able to rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today. And may through the power of these merits they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, may they all fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer merits to the Devas, Brahmas, spirits, demons, and the dead that we invited at the start of this sermon. May they all rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today. If any of them have today been born in the woeful states, may they be able to redeem themselves from such woeful states and be born in the blissful plane. May through the power of these merits they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path. May they forever and for long as possible protect and preserve the Sambuddha Shasana, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer merits to those men and women who have dedicated their lives to protecting and preserving the peace and harmony of our country, who have led our nation since the years that have gone by, who have fought in long and gruesome wars in our country and dedicated their lives to protecting and preserving the peace and harmony of our nation. It is thanks to them that today you and I are able to live without fear and grief in our hearts and in our minds, and are able to pay attention to these sermons and continue to reflect on the Dhamma, as well as members of the armed forces and the police force. May they all be able to rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today, as well as those who might have lost their lives in the wars, be they friend or foe. May they all be able to rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today, as well as those men and women and children who might have also lost their lives in natural disasters such as the tsunamis, earthquakes, landslides and storms and so on and so forth, not just in Sri Lanka but also in other parts of the world, reminding ourselves that at some point in samsara they have all been a mother to us and they have all been a father to us, with benevolent and compassionate thoughts filled in our hearts and in our minds. Let us transfer the merits that we have all acquired to all of them, as well as all of those people who will have made a huge difference in our lives, have made a massive impact in our lives to help make our lives as positively lead our lives as positively as possible and make it as comfortable as possible. May they all rejoice in the merits that we have all acquired today. If any of them have been born in the woeful states, may through the power of these merits they be able to redeem themselves of such woeful states and be born in the blissful plane. And may through the power of these merits they abstain from their meritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And finally, may through the power of all the merits that we have all acquired today, as well as the merits that we have acquired in transferring merits, may these merits empower and energize all those men and women just like yourself, spread out throughout the world, to practice their path, to cultivate the noble eightfold path, to free themselves of all the defilements, and may through them we be able to witness the advent of many hundreds of thousands of Arahatun Mahanses in this blessed land and in our very lives itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And finally, may through the merits that we have all acquired today, you and I and everyone who has contributed to making these events a success, who has contributed to preserving and protecting and taking forth the Sambuddha Shasana for all this time, be able to become an Arahatun Mahanse, to become an Arahat Mehenin Mahanse in this life itself and in the era of the Gautama Supreme Buddha itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. The members of the Mahasangha will now transfer their blessings to you. Raga ginnen midetva, desha ginnen midetva, moha ginnen midetva, Nibbana parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Nibbana parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Mamada siyalu loka siyalu satmayo, Nibbana parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Nibbana parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Nibbana parama sukhayen Sukhita taravetva, Raga gini niveva, Dvesha gini niveva, Moha gini niveva, Nivan sapa labeva, Nivan sapa labeva, Nivan sapa labeva. May I and all beings in all worlds be freed from the fires of desire. May I and all beings in all worlds be freed from the fires of aversion. May I and all beings in all worlds be freed from the fires of delusion. May I and all beings in all worlds attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana, and may the noble triple gem be with you all forever. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.